So, hello, welcome to our 6th and 7th Masterclass Artistic. Okay, sorry, I'm not in the image. Gustav is pushing me back and forth. So, okay, so welcome to our pop-up photofilm Masterclass number 6 and 7. My name is Katja Pratschke. Here together with me in the same split screen is Thomas Tode in Hamburg and Gustav Hamosch with me here in Berlin.
Yeah, I would like to welcome you in the name of the Concrete Narrative Society. We are organizing events on photofilm since 2006, mostly lectures, retrospectives, a book, Viva Photofilm in 2010, and many masterclasses and also some conferences. I would like also to welcome you on the behalf of the Haus der Photographie in Hamburg, which is hosting our event, this event. Especially I would like to thank Ingo Taubmann and Matthias Schönebäumer. And many thanks also to Neustadt Kultur, who is financing this event. Yeah, and now it's my pleasure to welcome our artists for this evening and for tomorrow, who are running the show. So we have here Paul de Nooijer.
Hi, it's me.
And Menno de Nooijer.
Yes, it's me. I am the son of Paul.
Yeah, and finally Romeo Grünfelder is already with us.
Hello, nice to be here.
Yeah, and just the schedule for today, just for your information, if you have not read it, we start with Paul and Menno de Nooijer around 45 minutes. They will present films and talk about it. Then we have around 25 minutes to do a Q&A. Then we'll have a small break, 10 to 15 minutes. And at 6:30, around 6:30, we will begin again with Romeo. And he has also 45 minutes and 25 minutes for the Q&A. So that's for today, and tomorrow it will be vice versa, and with different works, of course. Yeah, Katja? Or maybe Gustav. Gustav will tell something about photofilm, just a word of introduction.
So that's me right now. Okay. I focused on Polaroid. We don't need better proof that photography does not stop and freeze movement than the photographic process of the Polaroid. Nadine Olonetsky writes in her article, Polaroid, the Machine for Lifestyle, the picture shoots out of the slit of the Polaroid camera like a square tongue and is greedily torn out. You want to see the photo, you want to see immediately how it appears. But you can never be sure when the process is over. Rather, you can be sure that the image that has just appeared will eventually disappear. From photo to film, now I will refer to Bergson. Photography is related in a way to the mind, to our brain. Perception, according to Henri Bergson, works in such a way that we absorb moments that we feel characteristically from reality into our brain. Our inner cinematographer takes these snapshots and lines them up on the basis of our cognitive apparatus. In order to remember or recognize or speak, we do nothing else than activate our inner cinematograph. This makes cinematography an essential part of recognition in general. So I hope that was 50 seconds.
Yeah, okay. And for starting, yeah, okay.
Okay, so it's important because today we have a very special session because both artists are talking about Polaroid, the use of Polaroid in their films or their artistic research on Polaroid, and that's something very special And we wanted to have a focus on this very special aspect of photography and film. So I now will tell the boring but important things about the rules we have to deal with on Zoom. For the audience on Zoom, please make sure to keep your microphone muted so it does not interfere during the presentations. During the presentations, videos of the artists will be shown. Please select active speaker view in order to switch to a larger video window. So the videos will be not shared by screen, but they will be in this image boiling head media, and you can see the video larger if you select the active speaker view. For the audience on Zoom, when you have a question or something you would like to say, you can use the raise hand function located in the participant panel or write your question in the chat. There will be time for discussion and questions after the presentations of the artist. The masterclass will be live streamed on Facebook and YouTube. For people following via live stream, if you have questions to the artist, please write them in the Facebook chat. I will moderate the question both here on Zoom and on Facebook after each presentation. The live stream will be published later on our webpage, tomoveornot.de. So that means for our audience here with us on Zoom, that if you don't want to be visible in the recording, put your camera off. That's it actually.
Yeah, and finally, some biographical information about the de Nooijers, because we are now starting with Paul and Menno. They are possibly the most creative father-son team working today. Paul was already putting or introducing photographies in a cinematographic context as early as the end of the 60s, and together they are continuing this work until today. Always in combination with performance, theater, installation, film retrospectives, and photo exhibitions. By the way, there will be a big exhibition at the I Film Museum in Amsterdam beginning at the 14th December this year. And a new book, Is Heaven Blue, is out, recapitulating all of their more than 100 films, followed soon by a book on their photography. So in their films, the photo as an object is exposed, torn, eaten, animated, and presented in stop motion. These latter, the stop motion, nearly all of the times they are helped by their mostly invisible wife and girlfriend who are handing in the single photo prints. So now the stage is yours.
Okay. Yeah, speaking about a book. It's 3 kilos, and when I flip through it, it's 101 films put into images, 650 pages. And if I do the flipping correct, it looks like a film, by the way. Okay, a little history. Share. Did I do this okay? Is this a page from the book?
Yes.
Okay. But it could be nicer.
Yeah, actually, you shared your desktop.
Okay.
Maybe go out again and share again.
Yeah, I try. Stop, share. Oh, I see. I put her under.
Okay.
No, it is.
Now it's perfect.
Okay.
Kannst du jetzt aufhören?
And now it's even better, I guess. Yeah, this is back in history. It's the first film we did together as a family. I mean, that's showing Menno as a 3-year-old kid, and my wife is sitting there, and I'm behind the camera. It's a 8x8 movie camera, I was, as a photographer, I was always interested in doing films as well, but only by using the single frame level. So here we are, sitting in the living room, having fun. And you could read this as a kind of a statement, because this is the start of our life, and we've done this kind of things for about all of our times. Menno, kun jij overnemen? Het gaat helemaal niet.
Okay.
Ja.
I'm not mute, no. I was born in 1967. So here I was 3, Paul just told you. And my first memories are always about Paul's work. So sometimes it was photography, sometimes it was film, or things related to film. And I think it's very clear here. You can see me smiling, you can see my mother smiling, you can see Paul smiling. And it was always fun and exciting. And I never felt like a child, because there was not really a parent and child relationship between us. I should have one brother, but he died very quickly after his birth. So, but we were only the 3 of us. And also in this film, you can see that it's only the 3 of us, but you never see the 3 of us at the same time, because someone had to push the camera, the single frame camera. And so it starts with my mother and I, and near the end, you see that I am sitting there by myself, and the image after, all of a sudden my father is in, and that means that I am doing the single frames already. And so that is the first time I really helped with the film. And Thomas mentioned that December 14th, our latest film will premiere in the Eye Film Museum in Amsterdam, but we just heard today and yesterday that that show is cancelled because of Corona. So it will be next year probably that we have to change the date. But now we will, I guess, Paul is sitting behind me. We will go to the first film, or do you want to?
Yeah, let's go to the first film. This moving stills. It's made with 6 slide projectors and 3x2 series of slides, 1 positive, 1 negative. And the idea was that it's a very simple idea. It's a woman undressing herself. So Menno, can you start the film? Or
No,
okay.
someone else has to do it, but you have to leave sharing, I think.
Oh yeah, then I leave sharing. Okay. And then which film is it? Yeah.
It's playing.
Yeah, it's there.
But there's no sound to the film. There is sound, but I didn't manage to put it on.
Oh, share screen. Okay. This is the first time that we use polaroids in a film. As you can tell, this is the whole setup. It's in the it's in the living room again, and you see this now. The double 8mm camera is exchanged for a 16mm, and on the left-hand picture, you can see the setup quite well. In the middle is the SX70 Polaroid camera, and my wife, who's here, she's doing this still, but she's operating the Polaroid camera as well, and the film camera works by itself. It's running 2 frames per second. So this is the first time that we were using this method, and I was intrigued by the Polaroid because when the camera spits out the image, it's starting to develop, and when you look at the first grayish image and then it's developing more and more, you actually look into the past, and that's quite amazing because it's otherwise, to my opinion, impossible. You can see the path, the het verleden.
History.
Yes, yeah. You look into history. You look back in time, and we've used this method, I myself, and also together with Menno much later, to do a series of shorts. And the one that is probably best known is the transformation by holding time. There are 2 versions. The first one is made in the outside in a landscape, and when I saw the end result, I was a bit at first hand a bit disappointed, because it shows obviously that I've used a piece of glass in between the camera here, the Polaroid camera, and the film camera. So I didn't want people to know how the Polaroids appeared in the frame. Maar het gaat helemaal niet. Het is... Yeah, I'm sorry. This is to me probably a too abstract way of talking. I talk to a screen, so it's very strange to me. This is the first time that I have, and I'm really.
It is no problem. It's going well, but I think it's best to watch the film now, the transformation by holding time landscape.
Transformation.
Actually, what I'm telling you in the beginning, I was quite disappointed by the end result. The whole process worked, but when you see the Polaroids develop, and when you're you look at the third one and the fourth one, it's all the same picture. So you know by 5 and 6 and 7, okay, this will be the same picture again. So the idea was to start all over with a different setting, not in a landscape, but in a living room, and where I was able to control everything, the light, the model. I really like to be in full control. So that's when we did the second one.
No, but there's something more to say about this film.
Okay.
Because I've heard you talk about it more often, and you didn't mention that there's some things happened during the shooting outside, and that is that you can, I don't know if you noticed, but there are people passing by. So there's a person walking by, and it's going very, very fast. In the background, you see someone walking, and that makes it clear that the camera was running 2 frames per second and not 24 frames per second. And you didn't like that aspect, that you could see that. You mentioned already that you could see the reflection of the horizon. So you have 2 horizons in the image. And you saw the flies walking on the Polaroids on the screen, and you didn't like that at all. So yes, you did finish the film, but you never showed it to an audience. So it has been in a cupboard in the house where we were living for all those years. And then at one point, the film museum wanted to have all the films, and they were also renting the films out. And then on one occasion, you were in Australia, and there they hired films from the film museum, and you were there to have a presentation. And then you saw that they had the film museum send this film to Australia to show it, and you were like, oh, terrible, this is the wrong transformation. So what to do now, what to do? But there were like 500 people watching, and then you saw it for the first time. I don't know in how many years, it's 30 years?
Yeah, about.
And
yeah.
but then after that time, you could see what was interesting about it. And the fact that there are flies walking on the Polaroid is nice. And the fact that you see the person walking behind you is nice. And that you see the reflection is also very nice. So it took you 35 years to realize that. And I don't know if the people that have been watching the film have noticed, of course, you noticed that at one point the title of the film is in the image. So it says transformation by holding time. That was done because there was a mistake during the first session. It was a film camera, and it is rather complicated because in the camera you have two rolls. One roll is the film that has to go through the lens, but it didn't go on the other roll, and then it became, we call it spaghetti in the camera. So the film was all there, so the camera stopped. And you can see it because the first half of the film, you see the polaroids. There is a traffic sign in it next to the film camera, and in the second half, that is gone. So that was take two. So it was actually two films combined to one. And of course, this film, you also have not mentioned that it is. You change a film reality into a photo reality, and that was an important aspect of this film piece. Of it is really very well thought out. But the improvement was now transformation by holding time, news. So with a model, and I think now is the time to look at that.
Transformation.
Heb je hier unmute?
Okay. Yeah, this is the end result of the film. So there's two things. There's this 16mm film, and the art piece. Okay, it's time for the next one.
Yeah, but what I liked a lot about the landscape version is that until the very last Polaroid that you take, you see the Polaroid camera. And that was in this take not possible because of the position of the model.
Yeah, and I wanted to make a complete new piece of art by instead of photographing a film camera from one position, I've taken pictures from 15 different positions, and I had to keep in mind after the first one what I did for the first picture, and then I did the second and the third. But each time I had to memorize what I did before in order to create this new piece of art.
Yeah, you want to go to review now?
Yeah, please do.
So the next film. It's not the whole film, but part.
Honey, I need you. I want you. I love you. Honey. Honey. I sing a song. It won't take long. All I want to do, sing a song for you. Singing a song, it won't take long. Singing a song for you. Hoping my dreams come true. I want to be with you, girl. Need you near my side. You are my sugar, my starshine. Oh, all alone. Hoping my dream comes true. Singing a song, it won't take long. Singing this song for you. I sing a song for you.
You.
Do you want me to say something or?
Yeah. Well, the film is like a personal statement again. I'm trying to drag myself out of the soup, so to speak, like the picture, but it's hardly possible. So please, Menno.
Yes. This film you made in 1976, I think, because you were asked to give a lecture in front of a big audience of international photography people, elite group from all over the world, and every year they came together in Ireland, the south of France, and there was every year a big photo event, and that year you were one of the main focus of the festival, and they asked you to give a presentation about your work, and then you were supposed to stand on the stage and show your work and talk about the work, just like this. And then you told the organizers, "Oh, I'm much too shy, I cannot do that," and that is how you feel now, that you feel uncomfortable to give a presentation. And then you asked, "But can I make a film and present my photographs in the film?" And they said yes, but they were not very happy, I think, because they were like, "Then probably you're going to ask us to pay for the film." But you said, "No, I will pay for the film myself." And that is how this started. But the people that you see in the film, the little boy with the long hair is me, and Paul and my mother, and it was made in 2 days, in the weekend, on Saturday, and was it 2 days?
Oh, it's 1 day.
On 1 day.
Just 1 day. Yeah.
And the other man in the suit with the newspapers on top is my uncle, Paul's brother. And he said, "No, but I can help, but I have to leave at 1 or 2, I don't remember." And then Paul said, "Okay, but we will finish the film before that." But of course, the film was not finished. And Paul's brother said, "No, I leave." And before that, Paul was doing the camera, the single frames. And after that, Paul looks like his brother. So he went in the suit, but then I had to do the camera. And I was 9 years old then. And it is again a memory that I will never forget. And I had to laugh so much when Paul was doing like this and the photo came out of his mouth. And you can see me, the shadow of me on the floor near the end. I can always see myself moving because I had to laugh so much. Is there something more you want to say about this film? No.
No. It's the same as then. It's in the meantime, between then and now, I was able to speak to big audiences, but apparently
it's not easy now.
I lost the ability again to speak. Well, this is what I said. Is I speak to a screen, which is very strange. That's how it is.
The rooms that you see in the film, in the other film as well, that was our house. That it was how we were living. So it was always, we lived in art, and it was a set to make art. And the wallpaper changed many times in those years. Everything was. It was for me very boring to go to school. I always wanted to be home, and I was looking forward to the weekend, not to go out to play with friends. No, to be at home and to do exciting things and to meet exciting people. And yes, it is. It's a different way to grow up. But if I look at the time, then we have to go to questions, I think.
Yeah, maybe first round of applause for Paul and Menno. Paul, it's also digital applause. Thanks. for sharing this wonderful work of yours. And sorry to bring you in this situation to talk to the screen.
Well, yeah, that's for some reason. It's me that all of a sudden it happened before. It happened also in front of once in Australia for a big audience, and then I couldn't talk any longer. So I'm sorry for that, but what can one do? It's like time is on our heels all the time. And when you grow older, it's maybe closer than before. But the work is about that as well. I mean, it's what else is there? Well, that's Jean Cocteau. Film is death at work. That's his statement. And I think he is quite right about it.
So we open up now. If the audience has questions, just raise your hand. If there are questions from the live stream, please write them in the chat. So maybe Thomas, a first question to Paul and Menno.
Yeah, I was wondering about the flies. The story with the flies amused me, and I was thinking, and we have talked about that with Paul at different occasions already, that the fly is a kind of time indicator, and which is apparently not controlled by Paul. That was the reason why it was you didn't like it in the first time, and later you discovered that it's great. And I was thinking, because the flies make us understand how it's work, that it's these 2 frames per image. Of course, we always see you also with these big steps in the background, but with the flies it works better for me, and we have 2 regimes of time inside this image. That's what I was aiming at. It's quite interesting. We have this regime, the time regime of nature, and of course of the camera, which is 2 frames per second, and the flies, which are accelerated, moving around. They showed this to us. So maybe you can talk a little bit about the flies, my favorite subject.
Yeah. Well, in the beginning, I hated it, of course, as I explained already. But years later, I discovered that the flies really present the time, not so much the Polaroids. Well, they do because of the development of it, but I had to push the time by shooting at 2 frames per second, and it's, of course, a film is shown by 24 frames a second, so the time is speeded up 12 times, and the flies are really showing this. But what's nice about a fly, it's flying around, and then it sits for a while, not moving at all. And that's the nice part. So all of a sudden it's a zzz, and then it's there, and it walks only with tiny steps. So I really loved the fact that they are telling the viewer about what time means. And they are lovely. They are free actors. That's the good part of it.
Well, and another aspect is that the whole, it's a very conceptual film, conceptual idea, and you can say you can look at it and you can think, okay, it's boring, but you can also think, oh, it's very interesting. But then all of a sudden the flies make it humorous, and that's another aspect that comes to it, and I think that is perfect for this film. It would have been less interesting maybe in the second version, but here, since it is outside, and it is a little more boring than the second one. I like that a lot.
There's a question from Romeo.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation. It was pretty interesting to watch your work, not only the stills from the book, but also the films. Thank you very much. I would like to know if you could talk about or talk more about the iteration you use by sticking the Polaroids on the glass or on the screen in relation to the title. The title, as I remember, Transformation by Holding Time. And there are two versions, with the landscape and with your wife, but actually the iteration, that's a pretty interesting thing what you did. You iterate a motive in a landscape. It's always the same perspective as I thought I would have recognized it. And the title with the muse, I think it's a shift. You move the camera, you move the Polaroid. So what kind of concept of iteration do you use there?
Well, that's the reason that I moved the camera in the second film, the one with the woman on the couch, is that the film camera is static. It's on a tripod. It's not moving at all, while film cameras normally move. You use a film camera just to look around. And the still camera, the photo camera, it's the name is already still camera, and that's the one you choose, you frame, and then you push the button, and that's it. That's the result. But the photo camera can do much more things, and that is you can move around and frame and do a picture, and that's what you had in mind. You really choose that particular uitsnede,
Framing.
the framing, and at the right time. But the photo camera, the still camera, is able to move and do and move and move. So there's also works that Menno and I did together, where we made whole sequences of photographs using the still camera as a kind of movie camera, and the other way around. So I'm really interested in what the two are capable of in connection to each other. Does that make sense, Romeo?
Yes, I would like to go more deeper in the concept you change. You change in you're changing the movement of the Polaroid. First of all, in the landscape movie, you don't move it.
No, and that's boring. The end result is boring to me.
Actually, thanks to the fly, it's not boring.
Yeah.
Anyway, so. In the other film, you're moving the camera. I remember to lenticular things. It's the, how would you say, the production of 3D pictures. You know them. You hold it for your eyes, and you can move the object as it would be a 3D object. And the technique is almost the same. You have to move the still camera around the object and you put them together. So is there any concept to rely on space and not only on time, or how do you connect these possibilities of iteration relating to concept of time or space?
Well, it is, I think in the second one, it is in order to create a new view on reality. Because normally when you photograph, when you do a portrait or a nude or a landscape, you just pick that one framing and that's it. But in this case, I was created a totally new reality. And I think it's only possible using a still camera. Well, you can do it in film as well, using 4 film cameras or 9, whatever.
Or as in Matrix, they use whatever, 25 or more, right?
Yeah. And then you create something similar. But the idea was to really create something that the eye is incapable to see. I think that's the main reason. Maybe I can just select for tomorrow some series of Polaroids that I did later on, like a year after transformation was shot, just to show tomorrow what it does when you have 9 Polaroids together, creating a new reality, a really photographic reality. It's not what we see here, it's not what you see on the screen, it's what you are able to create with a still camera, other than with a brush and oil paint or whatever.
This with the woman, the Polaroid film with the woman, the very last film the very last Polaroid finishes this installation of this new reality of the woman, and you have to wait until it is developed fully to see the end result. But with the first one, the landscape, it is like like you said, after 3 Polaroids, you think, okay, this is going to continue that way, and then you have an idea what the end will look before it is finished. And it can be 4 Polaroids or 12 or 24. That doesn't matter, because it doesn't add anything more. But in the transformation with the woman, it is a whole. And something. But did you mention that a photograph is more? Yes, you mentioned that it's history, so there you stop time. And when it's film, is more as if it's happening now, so that is not so much history.
Yeah, that's with the flies the same idea. No? That we have the flies are happening now, and photo is always looking into the past, as you said, and looking into history. No? And maybe you can talk a little bit.
Thomas, there are several questions from Angelina and Anne. They have a question. Maybe let them ask their questions. Okay. And Gustav as well. Angelina,
hello,
would you like to go?
Thank you, Katja, and thanks for that presentation. It's actually more of a comment and not a question on what we are just talking about, because I also, when I saw the first film with the landscape, that nothing happens in a Polaroid was really like reminding me of how we create memories. So we take that kind of one picture and then it stays with us, and we try to post it again and again and again and again. So it's basically the same story that keeps on being retold somehow. So, and there's maybe no movement. And when I saw the muse, I was thinking about the imagination. So waiting until the last frame, as you just said, is developed to make it a whole, to make it as a whole picture, a whole installation. This is just what I wanted to say. That's just like 2 directions, going into the past and going somewhere, maybe the future or the imagination of oneself.
Well, thank you.
So Gustav has a question or comment?
No, I'm sorry, I do not have a question. I have I wanted to refer to the statement of real, kind of reality. I just wanted to make a little advertisement for the book. I also have an article in it, and that was printed in Holland, and the title is obviously "The Real of the Reality." I just wanted to make you aware about that. It's an interesting reading.
Okay, so now Anne, please.
So first I'll just say congratulations. It's really wonderful work, and it's the first time I'm experiencing your work. So I'm really, it's got a lot of things going in my mind. So that's wonderful. I also wanted to comment and ask a little bit about the memory versus time, because the last sequence, had a lot of complexity to it in the way that you began with the still images that are just pulled away, and then later having, framed works or works on the wall, and having the physical bodies of people in movement. And so it's like a frame within a frame within a frame, but also another way of things coming towards you. And I was thinking about how that is like how memory works. We can't know when memory will be triggered. It just happens, and it can happen in different formats. It isn't always the same. We have the same memory, we say, but actually the way that we visually in our brain experience it is quite different. And so I just wondered if you had some comments about that, because I see that very vividly presented in that last film in an exciting and wonderful way. So I wondered if you had anything to say.
Good question. Wow.
Well, it was your aim to show photographs, but at the same time you show how the photographs are being made. So you show in a way the end result, that is the photograph on the walls, or the photographs on the wall, but at the same time the way we were acting and what we were wearing is also what you see in the photograph. So also here you have the two layers of the history and the present.
Memory, because our work is at least for an important part, it is about memory. It's always about memory. Even the very last film we just finished, is about memory. It's looking back and
The last film is about saying goodbye.
Yeah, it's about saying goodbye, but yeah.
And it is, we shot it in the set where Paul is sitting right now, and we made that set based on the room that you saw in the last film that we showed. So there is it's about the same size. It's 4 by 4 meters, and in that room there was one door, I think, but here we have 2 doors. On the right is also a door. So that is how we actually started this film. We said, okay, we were thinking back about the beginning of your career, and how a lot of work was made in that room. So we had the memory of that. And then we said, okay, I said I can build the set here. So I built this little room about the same size, and there we just started. We started the room without anything, only the wood, and we started to change it.
maybe we can talk also about the sound, because Paul explained that he was trying to find out the rules of the media, of photography, of film, to use it according to the rules to create something which is only possible with this media. And for the sound, it is your brother Jan who did it, but maybe you can explain a little bit about continuity of sound and this stop motion of picture and the relationship.
Well, sound is, as you all know, sound is pretty important to the moving image, and because it's a way to, especially when you work in single frame, it's a way to combine the frames so that it's easier for the brain to digest the frames in a way. So the sound is helping. That's what we experienced in our last film as well. That it's quite important. And
we always say that the sound is the only thing that we cannot do ourselves. We like to control everything ourselves. So we like to make the light, we like to make the set, we like to do the camera, we like to be the actors. And that is partly because there's almost never money to make the film. But the sound is really the only thing that we cannot do ourselves. And I don't know how you worked with your brother, but usually we because at one point he didn't want to make the sound anymore for the films, and we tried to look for a composer that obviously that we like, that we think can add something to the film. But then we give usually a very free how do you say that? We let them very free and say, come up with an idea. So we give a lot of trust to them. We are not like the director saying, oh, here the violin has to come in, and then the piano, and then there it has to be quiet. No, we trust the composer. And I don't know, but that was before my time, so I don't know how you did it with Jan.
Oh, we were always working together and commenting, and so he would develop some ideas, and I would join him at his place, and we would watch and listen, and that is how because some music is okay and other music is not okay. That's that's how I still approach the music. I can feel when it's okay or when it's not okay.
No, but we cannot make it ourselves.
No.
So we cannot say here we want violins to come in. Or
no, that's true. So.
But of course, in the Polaroid film, you hear the voice say, time, time, time. So you have explained, talked to him.
I asked him to use the word time, but he was thinking about the image and what happened. So he was not singing time, time, time. We would have to ask him what he, especially time, he tried to pronounce time backwards, and then he flipped the sound so that you hear time, He was not singing time. He
Hmm.
was he was trying to later on, David Lynch used the same method, by the way, in when the dwarf is speaking. And what's the name of the movie?
Lost Highway?
Yeah,
No.
it's no, it's not. That's what's the one? Well, it doesn't matter.
Eraserhead? No, not
No,
Eraserhead.
no. Eraserhead is a very early film.
Yeah.
But he was using the actor is saying the words reversed.
Twin Peaks?
Yeah, Twin Peaks. Yeah, yeah, right. It's in the series.
Okay,
And
can
that's
yes, sorry.
yeah. No, go ahead.
Yeah, I because we were talking about memory, but I think one very important thing is the performance in review and also in the transformation by holding time's muse and the landscape version. And I think that's something very special. And the thing is, because you said you like to control, and I don't know if everybody's aware. So you did these films without editing, actually. So there's a lot of planning to fit the time in. I guess it's 160 millimeter roll of film, and then the time the Polaroids need to develop. And I would like to talk, or maybe you can say something about this performative way of actually what you do is also with review, because we showed a lot of photo films, and sometimes there is this kind of hors champ, what happens outside the picture, but this is very central in your films, that actually we always see the outside. We see the setting, we see the place where it takes place, we see how the pictures are hanged, how they are processed, and so on.
Yes, but in the shall I answer for you? Or?
Yeah, okay.
In the Polaroid films, it was from the first second to the last second, it was timed, because Paul knew at that time how long it took for the Polaroid to come out of the camera and until it was fully developed. So he knew the amount of Polaroids, and he knew the how long the film roll was, and it is true, it is one roll of 30 meters of 16 millimeter, and that is almost 3 minutes. So he divided the time exactly from the end to the beginning. So he knew, and when you saw him walking in the landscape, or in the other one, the clock is in the screen. So that he had a clock, and so he knew, okay, now I have 30 seconds, and then the first Polaroid has to come. And then he did the Polaroid, and he had to put the tape on the back and put it on the glass. And then he was looking at the clock, okay, now the second Polaroid. So that was very much scripted, and usually we don't work that way. And that is in the second film, or no, in the review with me, and that we show the photographs there. It's not scripted at all. Yes, more or less we knew, okay, we're going to start with showing the photos, but not the timing. So it is sometimes we work very conceptual, and sometimes it is just playing and to see what is happening.
But the review film, it's 10 minutes. It's just 4 rolls of 16 millimeter film, and there's only 3 edits in the film. The 4 are edited together. That's all. All the other edits are made into the camera while filming. So there's no post-production whatsoever. Yeah, we had to put music to the image. That was the post-production.
So thank you very much. Are there any more questions? I think from time-wise, we should make a break. Romeo, maybe a last comment or question?
Yeah, anyway, I love it to see your work, and I love to hear you speaking about your work, about your ideas and concept of using film and photography in film. Actually, a very a stupid question, but you did a book in the beginning. We saw the book, and you showed also some excerpt about the book or from the book. How is this? How big is the size of the book? But actually, on this screen, for instance, I don't have this much big screen, but I have to really look close to what's on the small pictures. Are you comfortable with the size of your book? Is it you showed it? Is it just like this one, or and the pictures are just like this size? Or it's a stupid question, I know, but actually I'm just interested because I have always the same problems that the small still images are too small. You would never recommend to watch it.
Yeah, well, some numbers. The book weighs 3 kilos.
Yeah.
It's like a brick. It has 650 pages, and the size is, I think, 22 by 26 centimeters. And it works like all the films that we have presented are presented in a way that it looks like a storyboard. So when you watch the images, you can tell how the film looks. You can actually read by your eyes the content of the film. That was the idea.
But you didn't do it before. You didn't do, for instance, mood shots or something to visualize your idea of the movie. But it was a process which you did afterwards with your book. No, okay, yeah. So you don't use the practice photographing before you in the concept phase or concept period, and then producing the film. You use it afterwards.
Yes.
Just for presentation. Okay.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, it's just stills taken out of the film.
Yeah.
And the videos.
Beautiful, right?
Yeah.
One last question. So anyway, the book has a middle thing, and sometimes you have pictured over 2 pages. So what happened in the middle?
Well, that's always a problem with the book.
Exactly. Okay.
So it doesn't look.
Anyway,
well, you missed a little bit there.
Stupid technical question. I would
buy the book, buy the book, and then you see yourself. The book is out.
It's out.
Would be happy, So
yeah.
Where's the commercial? Thomas. Where's the commercial for the book?
Yeah, Thomas, it's now.
Here there is. That's a double page. Can you tell?
Yeah.
Yeah. Of the book. Anyway, doesn't matter. That's the brick.
It's freshly out. So
it's
Thomas,
great.
15 minutes break, so it would mean that we meet here again at 6:35.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
6:35. Yeah, okay, that's fine.
Okay, so let's have a drink and
yeah.
And
Thank you.
we meet us again. Okay.